I guess we can start. Thank you all for being here today. It's a huge pleasure for me to see such participation, already about 100 people joining and going upwards. This is the second session of ALTBG space on X, and this time to discuss our latest announcement of this morning, a 300 million BTC ATM-like structure in partnership with 2 billion asset manager TOBAM here in France, who's been leading the way in Bitcoin since 2017 with the first Bitcoin open-ended fund launched in France back then. And he's one of our Bitcoin OGs that we all respect very much, and he's been invested in the blockchain group since December of last year, and he scaled up his investment with TOBAM in March of this year, and now with this 300 million BTC ATM-like structure, inspired from the success of Strategy and specifically Metaplanet with the moving strike warrants. And this is the way we think it's the most accretive BTC ATM-like structure we could possibly set up, and that's huge excitement for us to launch this today. So thank you very much all. Of course, we want to discuss this new structure, and we also invited Inia B and Be the Moon to join us, as they are major contributors to the community. And I would also be very happy to have Bitcoin Dog or some other participants that contribute well to the community. If you want to ask for the permission to speak, to moderate, and to ask us the questions for the first part of the session, maybe like 30 minutes. And then after this, we will open the floor for anyone to ask questions, to go in depth and go into the Q&A of any questions you may have, and we would not have the time to answer yet. So if that works for you, we would maybe kickstart. Inia and Be the Moon, would you have any first questions that you would like us to prioritize in terms of our answers? And we are here with Valentin Kozanovic, of course, working together to maximize BTC yield every day. So Inia, Be the Moon, any questions?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm happy. We are happy. I think I speak also for Be the Moon. We can both contribute to this and take this, and we are happy to kind of co-host with you. It's a pleasure. Maybe before starting, just one thing. I think I'm speaking for the whole community. It's a pleasure to follow you and to kind of support and kind of contribute how we can. Just 1 month ago, we were around 30 people in this community. Now we are 1,100 and more people. And I think the main reason that we grew so much is because you guys are doing great work. To talk about this great work is just in our live from last week with Be the Moon, we were speculating a bit about what's coming next, and we didn't see this coming. And we were already bullish, but this was really a big, very pleasant surprise. So yeah, we are definitely eager to learn more and to ask some questions about it.
Thank you so much, Inia, and you can be sure that we work 24/7, 365 to maximize that BTC yield. And I would like to say first, we hear and we read and we listen to all of your feedback. We have heard your feedback on the share access internationally, in the US, the website analytics, and the need for more regular updates overall. You can be assured that we have a focus on anything that will maximize BTC yield, and we are conscious that this US ticker specifically and the analytics on the website and more regular updates are things that we have very closely on the radar. So, of course, we are limited in terms of forward-looking statements, but we can assure you that those are top items on the list of very important things to look at. So thank you all for your feedback, and we very much welcome all of your feedback. Please keep pushing us hard into the right direction. Thank you.
And thank you a lot. And then maybe, sorry, Bidemon, you want to say something? I saw you unmuted yourself.
No, I just want to chip in and say I was really surprised today that we have another feature that is accretive, but it also is double the current capital that was raised before. So it just shows how 121% BTC yield focus looks like. So very good job, guys.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
And let's then start to talk about this great news. I think, so we were reviewing the documents, your announcements, and we went a bit in depth, but I think it would be really amazing to start, like, basically to hear from you what is this ATM about, because most people are familiar with MSTR ATM, but there are some differences and some specificities to this ATM that might be kind of very interesting for any ALTBG shareholder. So yeah, what is this ATM about?
Yes. So of course, an ATM can also be criticized in some way in the fact that it can also lower the premium in some ways. And so what we've seen is that Metaplanet has been extremely successful in their moving strike warrants with the price of the day, the prior closing day. And so what we have structured with TOBAM, the leading French asset manager, is a program in which they are able to subscribe daily as they want with the price of the day before, either the closing price or the weighted volume average, the volume weighted average price of the day, the higher of both. And on this basis, on a weekly basis, we are able to aggregate those demands and validate a capital increase that will transform the demand of the day in strength of the share into a new capital increase that will add more Bitcoin to the balance sheet, and this way to be able to more regularly, more efficiently, more accretively increase BTC yield on a more effective basis and more efficient way with a professional asset manager that doesn't receive, by the way, remuneration for this. And it's extremely different from an intermediary in a traditional ATM that is not long on the stock. TOBAM is naturally, with its funds and with its investment thesis, long on ALTBG. And so while TOBAM may use shorting or may use selling or different techniques, they are naturally long. And so that's an even more potentially accretive way of doing long-based BTC yielding ATM in periods of strength of the share and as close as you can get to at the market pricing. We've been hearing feedback in terms of the limitations of the announcements that we were making about capital raisings that were equivalent to ATM, but since it took a long administrative process, then at the announcement it looked like it was different pricing, but it's just a matter of administrative process timing. And so in this way, we are able to be as close as we can get to ATM pricing with the price of the day before, plus the form of close to long only structure, plus the fact that it's basically used into strength of the share. And I mean, you can see of the first day of the program, the share is up 17%. And so that's quite impressive. Of course, it's the day of the announcement, and BTC is in strength as well. But I think it's quite interesting to look at the price action and to look at the market reception and to see that we are up 3,000+% since the launch of the strategy, and that we are up again 17% after this announcement. So that's the overall structure of the ATM deal, and it's 300 million euros envelope, which, if executed in full during the 6 months, would indeed be higher than our capital raising target and the higher band for the whole FYE 2025. And so, of course, we have ambitious targets, and of course, we want to leverage tools that push us forward into these targets. And even if we can exceed, of course, we will happily do so.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's very interesting. And I think I want to just take the opportunity to underline two very important things that you said, and I think will speak to most shareholders, like the fact that indeed we are not a typical ATM type program, in the sense that the counterparty is not a financial intermediary, but is somebody who's already long and is already a shareholder, heavily invested through BTC denominated bonds as well, and for whom he didn't listen yet to this interview. There is an interview, a very nice interview with Tim Kotzman, where there is also the president of TOBAM with you, Alexandre, and there you can really hear how, I would say, bullish, first about Bitcoin, but also about the blockchain group, TOBAM, is in first person. So I think this is a key thing, like that the entity that is offered this ATM is actually very determined, very invested, and very bullish about the blockchain group and Bitcoin itself. It definitely understands Bitcoin.
Yes, indeed. And we plan to do a new type of session on X with Yves Shefati, together with Yves Shefati, the president of TOBAM, so that you all can get to know him. He's not been that present on X, but I think it will be a huge value add for you to know him, his investment thesis into Bitcoin Treasury companies, and specifically into ALTBG.
Amazing. And another factor that you mentioned that I want to just maybe again underline, because it's really cool and very promising, is that if we understand right, this program is just for the next 6 months, right? Then it could be extended, or anyway, the target, this 300 million, is for the next 6 months only, correct?
Yes, so exactly. If there is more possibility to go upwards of 300 million, we will just update this with an agreement with TOBAM. And we have tomorrow the General Assembly of the blockchain group to validate and ask to validate, of course, the capacity increase of capital raising to more than 10 billion euros. And so that means that theoretically there is no limit into the ATM capacity, as much as the capacity that could offer the General Assembly. And please note that this capacity is also based on nominal amounts, and that gives an estimate of 10 billion, but it could be also higher as well. So, but it's an estimate of a 10 billion euro capacity to scale up the different financial instruments we can issue. And then if there is more demand and capacity for the ATM, then we will scale that up with the limit that the ATM can only be done daily, and it's a capacity daily, it's not for sure, of course, with a 21% limit of the volumes of the day before. And so that allows as well to not affect too much the stock price overall. And it's always in periods of typically in periods of strength of the share, as it's taking the price of the day before.
Yeah, and in addition to your point, Alexander, the TOBAM can choose to retain the shares. It can sell it, of course, but it also can choose to retain some or all, or however it likes, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yes. In the press release, I thought that there was a floor price if the acceptable price is lower. Is the floor price already set, or how is that?
So the pricing is ATM pricing with the prior closing day. However, there could be situations in which the prior closing day is lower than the 20-day moving average, but still provides a huge premium to net asset value, and so it would be extremely BTC yield generating. But there is, even in this case, there is a limit based on the General Assembly authorizations of a maximum discount of 15% to the 20-day moving average. But again, it would still be based on the prior closing day. And we also have, as the company, the capacity to suspend the program if it happens that there are conditions that are not accretive in terms of BTC yield. And TOBAM is also well aware of those BTC yield, this importance of the BTC yield and the centricity of it in our strategy. And so we will be working closely with TOBAM to make sure that the exercise of the program is BTC yield accretive over time.
Perfect.
Thank you.
In the press release, we see that there will be like a weekly update, probably, if there is any ATM used. Are you gonna do that on a certain day like Sailor is, or is it just flexible in the week, Alexander?
Yeah, so it's flexible, but still we will intend to communicate as fast as possible within the process. If there is a process that appears over time to be working very well, then we will keep doing it. So we are starting it, bear with us. So there is, of course, uncertainty in terms of exact timing, but we will be announcing as fast as possible with our capacity from an administrative standpoint. And so over time, we will potentially have a more defined type of agenda. But so far, the program is launching, so I cannot give exact timing, but it will be on a regular basis. When we have demands from TOBAM, then we will aggregate those demands during the week in the next day of the next week, and then we will proceed with an announcement if there is a capital increase with this program.
Perfect. Thank you.
So that also provides the opportunity for more regular updates if the plan is to be executed on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis. Then it will provide for more regular updates as well, as we've been asked.
Great.
From the community. Yeah.
And yeah, Yomi.
Same. I have some questions as well. Like, let me switch and let me ask a couple of questions then. So I mean, we did a very quick calculations with Bitmoon, right? And it's very easy to compute, like with 300 million within 6 months. This could mean, with the current Bitcoin price, something around 3,000 Bitcoin, new Bitcoin acquired. Of course, the price might increase a lot, but given that we are already at 1,471 Bitcoin on the balance sheet, and you have a target for 2025, which is between 1 and 3,000, actually 2025 and 26, if I'm not mistaken, which is between 1 and 3,000 Bitcoin. Does that mean
it was the financial year 2025? Yes.
Okay. So does that mean we will see, potentially we could see even the targets increasing or not?
I see. So in terms of the target, we have to keep in mind that we are long-term oriented. And so the target is on an 8-year basis to have the ambition to acquire 1% of the total BTC supply. And that would mean to target about 210k BTC. And of course, if we do it faster, it's better. And especially in more accretive ways of financing and more BTC yield. And if we significantly outpace our plan, we will potentially update it. But it's a long-term plan, and so it might exceed significantly in some years. It might be then a bit lower in some others. Or it can also obliterate the model to the upside if we execute well. But we are very excited to be already within the range of the FYE financial year ending 2025 already in June. And we, of course, with this program of 300 million euros, we ambition to meet the higher band of this range, and if we can, to exceed it. And if we are able to exceed significantly, then we could potentially look at updating. But the priority is to maximize BTC yield, and then an update of plans will follow. But it's in this order of priority. I see in the chat that there is a question about the potential groupment of shares, the reverse stock split. Well, so I had seen a lot of questions on this since February when we added that to the capacity of our General Assembly. For clarity, this was added as a capacity because when you are a stock around €1, you may be considered as a penny stock, and that may refrain some institutions to participate or to provide collateral for the shares and this kind of thing. So we had added that to the General Assembly, and we are adding that to General Assembly, but we are already around €4 to €5, and so it may not make sense anymore. It's still a capacity we have, but it's not an obligation, and so we have it as a capacity, but it's not a requirement. Basically, the market did itself a form of reverse stock split, so that's of course great news, but it's a capacity. Do you have any other questions, Enea or Bidemoon?
I have a few other questions, maybe not specifically to this ATM, but more to a broader picture. So maybe I would first leave the space to anybody who has, if there are other questions specifically about this big news, the ATM. Yeah, if you have any questions, maybe raise your hand.
All right, yeah. If anyone has questions, please raise your hand and I will allow you to speak in the space. In the meantime, Bidemoon, do you have another question?
No, I was
No?
just going to say we front run the reverse stock split, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, which is great, of
And
course.
there's a couple of questions open, I think.
All right, maybe we can look at the comments in the meantime. Let's see. No, I don't see. Is there someone that is asking or not? I don't see.
I don't see either. Wait.
No,
No.
I don't think so. Is there any topic that we have not covered from questions, typical questions from the community that we would not have addressed yet?
I see some questions. Finally, maybe you can see them as well. If you update, somehow re-upload the page where you're
I see
live.
some demands. What did you say? Sorry, now?
I said I see now the questions in the comments, and you just, if you I think upload the page, or like, sorry, you refresh basically your live. There are
I see some demands as well to speak,
okay.
so I will accept one by one. I see Noircer Trading. Did you have a question?
Yes, I had the question. I know that you can't speak to it too much, but regarding a U.S. ticker, what type of barriers are there regarding that and the difficulties to getting that?
Okay. So of course I cannot make forward-looking statements, but it has all type of process for securities. It needs a process in terms of weeks or months to do the necessary administrative processes to get anything ready through intermediaries that provide the service. For example, for the OTC listing that did Metaplanet, that's a question of about 1 month or so, depending on the type of companies. So there is no specific blocking. It's just a matter of company decision and of administrative process timing from the intermediary and so on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have any other question?
That's all. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. Then I will accept Carbo. Carbo, did you have a question?
Hello?
Yeah.
Am I on?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. First of all, congratulations, Alexandre, for what you are doing. It's really amazing. And I'm so glad that we have a strategy playbook-like company in Europe. So congratulations. I'm following Issue Fatty and you since a long time now, and really happy to have ALTBG in Europe. And I hope your company will go mainstream soon. I have one question. Question that I have is, why can't we invest directly using on-chain Bitcoin? Is it possible? Is it something you will allow us to do, or it's something that is forbidden? I don't know.
So there are two possibilities today to potentially invest directly in Bitcoin. It's either through our BTC denominated convertible note, but that is for professional investors with a significant amount of investment. if there is any interest, please feel free to reach out either to me, or if you can't, then of our releases, and you will see an email address that you can contact. It's our communication agency, and they will redirect the demand to us. So that's one way, based on a significant amount of investment. And then there is another way that is quite interesting, and that is through, it's not enabled for now, but it's through stocker in Luxembourg with the tokenization of the stock, and that is available today for strategy and for Metaplanet, and that's also, of course, something that we definitely look at as something accretive for investors. So those would be the two ways, and it's not open for now in terms of the share on a tokenized way, but it is open on a BTC denominated convertible note based on a significant amount of investment.
And only for professional, right?
Well, it depends then on the KYC process with the bank, but depending on the size of the investment, then it could be understood as a professional investors with the size of the investment, and depending on the KYC type process of the bank.
Okay. Okay, thank you, and congrats once again for what you are doing.
Thank you very much for your interest and the question. Thank you. All right. I see Mickey Foresti. Did you have a question? Hello? Mickey?
Mickey, yeah, it's me. Alexandre, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. First of all, congratulations on a great job. It's great to see a toxic Bitcoin maximalist in charge of a company. And my question is, potentially the potential is unlimited. You issue ATM like you announced today, or you issue convertible bonds, BTC convertible bonds. Potentially the market is enormous. So share price goes up, you issue more. There is no limit in the short term and the medium term. No, your company becomes one of the largest company in France. What's the reaction of the French regulators, the French government, even the ECB, seeing this? Christine Lagarde said Bitcoin is an escape valve, and they don't like it. So just wondering, if you become big, much bigger, what's the reaction of the regulators and the European governments? Isn't there a risk that they might say, well, you can't continue this strategy of issuing papers and buying Bitcoin?
Yes. So there are a few questions in there. The regulators, and then the government overall in the present and in the future. So first on the regulators. It is to be noted that every communication and everything we do is in discussion prior to announcement, and in collaboration with the French regulator, and also in preparation before with our lawyers in terms of structuring. And so everything we do is in close collaboration with the French regulator since the very beginning. Mm-hmm. And we always ask them what they think, and they give us feedback. And by the way, they do an amazing job. at getting back to us. I mean, the same day or the day after. They are extremely collaborative since the very beginning, which is great and which is a very high signal of, despite the noise of anything that some representatives can say, at the end of the day, you have normal people doing their job in the right way and following, just applying the rules, which are the rules that it's possible. And so that's extremely important. And in fact, the French regulators have been leading in digital assets overall since several years now, and they have been the one to approve at the time the solution of TOBAM for the first open-ended fund back in 2017. And so you can imagine that this topic is not new for them, and they understand Bitcoin for many of them, and it's been in collaboration with them since the beginning, so that's great. Then on the more higher level government side, there is always a risk in terms of government outreach. However, we are not, definitely not yet in their radar, basically, and I would assume that at a later stage there would be more conversations to be had with higher parts of governments. But overall, economic freedom has been a core value of Europe. And despite many bearish news in terms of privacy and in terms of taxes and so on, more at an individual level, I'm very bullish on the economic freedom of European companies overall. And I would say that paradoxically, the potential risks for individuals in terms of holding Bitcoin on a non-custodial fashion or in terms of taxes in the EU would be at the end beneficial in some way, which is not, of course, good news for individuals, but would be beneficial for the stock because we are basically an extremely important option for people to get exposure to Bitcoin on their brokerage accounts, and with tax exemptions and with protection in terms of protection of security that is in some ways quite protective for investors. And so while there might be risks from an individual perspective, in terms of a corporation, it seems like that is quite well protected and regulated, and overall, while there might be changes in the future, of course we cannot predict, European states are quite respective of rules set in the past, and so for the foreseeable future there is no risk in sight for corporations in this manner. However, you can note that we chose Luxembourg for the SPV that allowed for subscription directly in BTC, and that provides a framework of rules in Luxembourg that almost doesn't change in time. And so that's also quite important in our setup. And on the more long-term horizon, we definitely think about the future and the global outreach of the blockchain group. And so overall, it's also our role to foresee the future and plan for this type of, even if at the margin risk, to think about it over the long term, to work with different institutional grade custodians, not depend on one, and so on. So we are having discussion with many type of institutions, sometimes in different countries, to make sure that we have a robust setup, not only in the present, which we have, but in the future, and to be forward-looking in this sense.
Okay, thank you very much for the great answer. and keep up the good work. We are all behind you.
Thank you very much for your support, and for you and for everyone in the call. Please be assured that we work every day for you and for the maximization of BTC yield over time. Of course. Thank you very much. So
Thank you.
I see that there is another question. I see Thomas Brunel. Can you hear us? And there is another question next. Yeah. Thomas? Can you hear us, Thomas? We can't hear you. All right. I will pass it on to the next person. And Thomas, if you are able to speak later on, please let us know. So, Daimov, can you hear us?
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Hello, everybody. I'm really happy to hear you all. I have a quick question about, because I'm quite a fan of Bitcoin Treasury companies and following several of them. ALTBG is a rather large portion of my portfolio, but Metaplanet is also. And they have a strategy. They're using options to generate additional income, and I'm just asking if it's possible for ALTBG to use the same strategy or no.
Thank you very much for the question. It is not in our core strategy. We believe that the most accretion we can provide for shareholders is to focus all of our time and energy on raising as much capital as possible, as fast as possible, and in the most accretive way as possible to accumulate Bitcoin. And however, I know that this program from Metaplanet is also in some ways following this objective, and it's been proven to provide benefits. So we look at it, and there might be ways in the future that we could look at a way to do something similar. But this is not in our core strategy, and I focus all of my time in the capital raising that provides the maximal amount of BTC yield for shareholders. I know that Metaplanet also developed this in some ways as they had low revenue historically from the hotel business, and that they are doing the Bitcoin hotel, and I wish them well on this. And so this strategy has allowed them to generate more revenues, which is great, and which can provide more Bitcoin. So it's not something that is outside of the scope of a Bitcoin treasury company. It is just not our focus. And it is, of course, in the radar of possible things to do, but it's not the focus. The focus is to raise as much capital as possible to accumulate Bitcoin in the fastest and most accretive way possible.
Thanks, guys. You're doing a tremendous job. Cheers from Strasbourg.
Thank you very much. And of course, please let us know any ideas you would have over time, and we will consider as we go. Thank you very much. All right. I see Janine. Hello, welcome. Do you have a question? Yeah, we can hear you, I think.
Are you calling me, Janine?
Yes. You
Okay.
can
Hi.
speak
Hello,
now. Yeah.
Alexandre. Hi.
Yeah.
Hello. Yes, it's maybe a question in the line about community building, what Metaplanet is doing with the hotel, but also with the magazine. And I was wondering, I understand what your focus is, and it's amazing what you're doing, so I completely understand. But I was wondering, or if there also is kind of a way to build a community to orange pill far more European people. In the future
What do you
somehow.
think we should do?
I have some ideas, but maybe I can talk to you in Prague in about 2 weeks about that. But it's a
All
little
right.
bit out of focus. But it could be a way to I don't know, in line with the Bitcoin fundamentals, do something for the people. But it's I don't know.
Do you
We can chat.
do you have a first set of ideas like this that you would like to throw at us as a preliminary step?
Oh yes, I can certainly do. But I was first wondering if you are looking into those kinds of ideas anyway.
Okay. So, yes, definitely. That is why we do this space, and we can think of more recurrent pace to keep you updated. We are extremely glad and honored to have seen the growth of the self-initiated and managed communities on X, on Discord. I think there is also something on Reddit. I'm not sure. And that's amazing. And if you think that we should participate more and create more content, we are extremely open into what you think should be the right type of content. We definitely plan to communicate more, to provide more regular updates, to provide more regular slides, content. Valentin is here with me, and he's working very hard on a lot of capital increase that we've done lately, and that requires a lot of work. But we'll also think of expanding the team. Please note that we have a lean and focused team on Bitcoin and the capital raising, but it's a lower number of people than Metaplanet and Strategy so far. And so we are definitely looking at if there are people that are interested, that are hardworking and extremely focused on BTC yield maximization, if they want to bring their expertise from a legal standpoint, from a communication standpoint, from a capital raising standpoint, financial engineering, legal. We are definitely here to receive those type of requests, and we would be very happy to see if there are people that would want to join, if they are aligned with the mission here, and that can bring new skills and new scaling to our operations. And so if it is the case, please feel free to reach out. And also the same, you can take one of our latest press releases if you are not able to reach out to me directly or to Valentin, and you can write an email to our communication agency. But yes, we are working definitely on providing more communication. We have provided on the website, on the media section, the slides that we have presented in Bitcoin Seoul and the previous presentations I've made in Orlando, in Vegas. So that's the first set of communication. We will also be working on potentially communicating more around this, and also the ATM structure might also provide more ability to provide regular updates. So if there
Yes,
are
no, you do
anything else
already
we
a
can do,
great job. Yeah, you do already. I mean, it's an amazing community on X. I'm really enjoying all the input of all the smart people. Thank you all, community.
thank you.
Yes. Now, yeah, my ID is kind of an outside ID, like the hotel thing of the Metaplanet issue. And that's because I'm from the Netherlands and I had my own company for 10 years, and that had to do with a healthy lifestyle, that you get sort of points, credits, when you cycle. It's like proof of work, energy and time. In the Netherlands, cycling is a modality which everyone can choose to go to work or whatever. So it's not a Strava kind of cycling. And now with the Bitcoin Lightning Network and so on, and more shops and businesses that accept Bitcoin or Satoshis as a payment, we could build a huge sort of community with people that choose to cycle. In Paris, it's also getting very popular. And they get some Satoshis and they join the network of a Bitcoin Treasury company that wants to have freedom and happiness for the whole world. Kind of those kinds of ideas I have as a woman, a little bit more holistic. So it's not what you say about the legal and the financial and so on, but it's sort of a sidekick that can build a huge community of people that are not even know what the Bitcoin is, kind of way.
Very interesting, Janine. And if you have a proposal to make us, please do so. And
Yeah, I will see you in
we will
Prague,
look
I
at
think.
it. Yes,
Yeah,
let's discuss this in Prague.
we drink
And
a little beer there.
in fact, in Prague, let's organize a meet and greet a setup where we can all meet shareholders of the blockchain group and meet there and discuss. Let's do that, definitely. Thank you so much, Janine.
Yeah, thank you, Alexander, for your time. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you. So
Alexander,
I
sorry.
see. Yeah. Is
I
that
raised
yeah?
my hand before. I'm not so sure that because I'm not requesting to speak, but I just want to say I have my raised hand, and I think it was well connected to some topics that we treated before. So about regulation in Europe. If I may, I have a question.
Yeah.
About that. So I see, I mean, we can see when we look at the Bitcoin treasuries ecosystem, that now there are some established players, right? We are talking about MSTR, the first worldwide Bitcoin treasury, also first, of course, and market leader in US, but also we could say the giant Bitcoin treasury. Metaplanet, definitely in Asia. And I see, I mean, of course, we know like the blockchain group is the first European Bitcoin treasury public company in Europe. And I see somehow when I look at MSTR, Metaplanet, and the blockchain group, I see some sort of, let's say, specificities to their own markets. So definitely Metaplanet is specialized and is kind of hacking the Japanese, but also the Asian market. And I was wondering, and I think it would help me, but also probably others, to hear if there are any kind of advantages or that regard the position of the blockchain group in Europe in comparison, for example, to how Europe could be for example, Metaplanet or MSTR. Like, I can already see that, of course, being a European company, we are closer to the regulators. We are closer to the regulations because probably you guys are developing an expertise that takes a very long time to develop, and also a network, right? But I wanted to ask these questions to you and hear from you if you have any thoughts or a clear advantage that you could say it's proper and specific to the blockchain group.
Yes. So, well, first of all, I don't see, and that's also related to another question about the comparison between the treasury companies. It's not your question directly, but I want to address this point. I don't see Bitcoin treasury competing between themselves, and rather I see that we are extremely similar in terms of playbook with strategy and Metaplanet. Very explicitly since the very beginning, we have decided to adopt the exact playbook of strategy and Metaplanet, and of course to adapt it at European scale. And what we've seen as a unique advantage is that we have the same type of global demand for pure play Bitcoin treasury company focused on maximizing BTC yield, but with absolute local scarcity in the whole European continent. And so we are the first and largest Bitcoin treasury company in Europe, as has been strategy in the US and the world, and as has been Metaplanet in Asia. And that's a huge market advantage to have this first mover premium, to have the highest track record in Europe, to have a huge advantage in France specifically for investors that have the PEA. It's a local tax exemption wrapper where they can buy, sell the share without any tax consequence unless they get out of the PEA. But even in this case, after 5 years, they have about 50% reduction. And so that's a major advantage for French investors to get exposure to Bitcoin in a levered way with the increase of Bitcoin per share, of course, without even the company needing to take leverage. And that's a major way for them to get access. I meet on a weekly basis investors that tell me that they have literally converted all of their PEA into the blockchain group, which is, of course, a huge responsibility, but quite an excitement to see the level of conviction of local investors into their Bitcoin treasury company. I think there's been a poll recently on the distribution of investors in the blockchain group, at least for the community, and I saw that it was about 50% Europeans and 20% US, if I'm not mistaken, and that's quite impressive to see. You would think that Europeans are more conservative, but actually they are quite invested and quite committed to the growth and the communication around the blockchain group. And then back last month, we've seen the US investors discover ALTBG and starting to get into some size that is not even bearable for sellers in Europe. And basically you have a supply shock happening, because in the US you have already a lot of companies that start to add Bitcoin on the balance sheet. In Europe, we are very much the only ones to have this BTC maximization laser eyes focus. Now you have a Smarter Web company in the UK, and we wish them well. And I know there are 2 in the Nordics, and that's amazing. And the more Bitcoin treasury companies arrive, the more capital we will be able to raise as we are forming an industry, the more BTC will accrue in terms of fiat value, which doesn't matter that much. But the most in this case, BTC becomes a major asset class in the EU. And I think another advantage is that the European, if you just take the fiat convertible debt market, is about 60 billion compared with 80 billion in the US. That's a massive market as well in the EU. And if we were to capture the same market as strategy over time, of course, not necessarily short term, but over time, that would be just this, about 3 to 5 billion euros. And so, if we were to raise about 3 to 5 billion euros in fiat convertible notes over time, even taking the same timeline as strategy did, that would mean that we would already be a major company in the CAC 40 in France, which is the 40 largest companies in France. And so, you already see that with what we did, we are already at a 500 million plus market cap, which means that on a free diluted basis is more than 1 billion. And the CAC 40 starts at about 4 billion. And so you see that you can get into major significant size in Europe faster that you can get it over in the US. And you see that the blockchain group is already a global stock. And so there is this global demand meeting local scarcity, which is quite interesting. And then I think that independent of the local specificities, the local advantages, I think that what's important for a Bitcoin Treasury company is the team. It is the team, it is the capacity and the speed at which the Bitcoin Treasury company can increase that BTC yield and can cover that premium and the velocity at which it goes. And I think that so far we've proven to be one of the fastest growing BTC companies on a month to cover basis, meaning that we take about 4 to 5 months to cover the premium since the launch of our strategy. And that's extremely important compared with other companies that are on a more to 6 to 9 months basis or even more than 1 year. And so, of course, we need to keep executing and to keep the pace as fast as we can on the BTC yield side. But that's where we position uniquely, is with a team composed of financial engineers and Bitcoin maximalists and Bitcoin legends such as Adam Back, Fulgur Ventures, TOBAM, and UTXO Management, plus on the board with Jean-François Descaves, an ex-president of an asset manager, Ludovic Chauchin-Laurent, also the co-founder of Capital Union Bank, and Jean-Philippe Casadepexouet, the CEO and the founder of one of the operational companies. I think we also have an operational business that is profitable, that has generated 15 million revenue and 1.3 million net result, and that has capabilities that will over time converge, I think, with Bitcoin, with data analytics and AI, technology consulting, and blockchain development that we do for consulting clients that we intend to pivot and to adapt to the Bitcoin ecosystem. And so that's quite interesting in terms of, we were talking before about tokenization on top of Bitcoin, and that would be quite interesting to see in the future. And we have teams for web development overall, and we think that there will be room to have some convergence with Bitcoin over time. So that's also something that will be quite interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Enea. Martian Lawyer B, I see that you had a question. Are you here with us?
Yes, hi. I'm here with you. First, thanks, of course, for everything you do, and thanks to the community. I would like to quickly come back to the ATM for a second, if you don't mind. I have two small questions. The first one would be, I was wondering that now that we have an ATM-like instrument in position to sort of harvest the NAV multiple, which is, I think, over 10 at the moment, I guess you don't have a problem with getting TOBAM as many shares up to the limit of 21% as they want. But I was wondering if you also have a lower bound of MNAV where you would consider not giving TOBAM any shares.
So, as I mentioned, the pricing of the ATM is based on the prior day closing price or the higher with the volume-weighted average price of the prior day. And that is coupled with our capacity to suspend the program if it is not in conditions that we deem accretive, especially in the objective of maximizing Bitcoin per share over time. Of course, in current conditions with premiums at these levels, a capital increase at these levels is extremely accretive for shareholders by converting converting premium into net asset value in the form of maximized BTC yield. But in a future state where conditions would be extremely different and where it would not make sense from a BTC yield perspective, then we would have the ability to suspend the program. And again, there is also a limit in terms of even the price cannot go lower than a 50% discount on the 20-day moving average. In the case that the 20-day moving average would be higher than the last closing price, but it would always be at ATM-like pricing. And so provided that those are in conditions where it would contribute to the increase of BTC yield, and provided that it's an ATM-like structure, it's the most accretive program we can do with a partner that is basically long on the stock and that can keep the shares and that is executing the program in conditions that are in the strength of the share as it is based on the price of the day before and so on. We think that is the most accretive ATM-like structure that we could set up and that we have announced this morning.
Okay, great. I'm going to try to pressure you a little bit to get a number, but if you don't want to mention one, no worries. What would you say is an MNAV that is accretive to the BTC yield?
Well, the higher the premium to the net asset value, the better we can maximize the BTC yield. So the higher it is, the most BTC yield we can generate. So
Okay.
yeah, if it's 10, it's better than 5 in terms of BTC yield, and if it's 20, let's go for it. But of course, our objective is to capture this premium into net asset value and to transform that premium into BTC yield for our shareholders. And the objective is to be, of course, one of the fastest growing in terms of months to cover the premium. And that's the most important thing to do. And the program with TOBAM, with the 300 million envelope, is positioned to, of course, capture that premium as fast as we can do it, but as accretive as we can do it, with also the 21% limit on the volume of the day before, and by doing this in periods of strength of the share, by taking the price of the day before, and by having the suspension possibility of the company if it is in market conditions that are not accretive, and that way as well defend the premium in this way.
Thank you so much.
Maybe if I may add one comment, just as a reminder, because we went through with Be the Moon through it during our live last week. I think, it's very clear right now that the MNAV is a relative measure, relative KPI, right? In this case, Alex, I agree with what you said, Alexandre. Like, the higher the better, and it's more about how the market is deciding to price the growth that they expect from the blockchain group. Maybe it's a more interesting metric or more explanatory metric to look at the months to cover the MNAV. So how the actual growth, that the current growth is able to cover the current MNAV, and how much the blockchain group can keep up with this growth, right? Just wanted to say this because I think it's not that easy anymore to look at an MNAV and say it's high or it's too high or it's too low, because it all depends on the current growth of the company. Like, I hope I
Thank you.
added some.
And I want to add something related to this question and to the question of that you asked before, Enea, in terms of differentiation. I think that's something that's extremely unique, and that you, Enea, Bidemoon, and the community has done an amazing job at also explaining, is the uniqueness of our strategy in terms of Bitcoin-denominated convertible bond out of the Luxembourg nuclear reactor SPV that we have set up, and that allows us to infinitely scale the type of capital raise we can do through the Bitcoin-denominated convertible bond, as those convertible notes are subscribed directly into Bitcoin and are denominated in Bitcoin in a way that on a 5-year maturity, the risk is extremely low to not have conversion, and so that there is no credit risk added to the balance sheet, in a way that we could have tomorrow, as Bidemoon said, we could have tomorrow one investor that would want to come with 100 million, 1 billion, and we would be in a position to allow him to join, provided that it doesn't exceed 50% in terms of potential dilution into ownership of the share. But that's an extremely scalable financial instrument to convert premium into net asset value at record pace. And that's how, in part, we've been able to provide record 1,000+% BTC yield year to date. And of course, that's a financial instrument that is not even existing elsewhere. And so that's basically the only solution today for Bitcoin maximalists and major institutions in terms of family offices, multifamily offices. You could even think of sovereign funds and so on that have Bitcoin on the balance sheet on their own investment, and that would be able to get the best of Bitcoin. If the company fails, the investor gets back the Bitcoin. But if we continue to execute the plan, if we continue the growth, and if we don't fail, then the conversion is the most likely scenario, as we are providing BTC yield. Bitcoin could even stay flat, and we would be able to convert if we provide BTC yield over time. And even with the BTC continuing to grow, even at much lower pace than historically, just with fiat devaluation, then it's extremely likely that we will convert all of those BTC-denominated debts. And in any case, we have no credit risk on them, so it's less risky for the investor, less risky for the company, more scalable for the company. It's maximizing BTC yield for the company. We don't even need MNAV premium to generate BTC yield, as we are issuing those at a 30% premium to 20-day moving average, or more potentially. And so that's an extremely scalable, extremely yield maximizing instrument that we have innovated as the world first instrument of this kind. And that's the instrument that Adam Back, Fulgor Ventures, TOBAM, UTXO Management, and Ludovic Chochin-Laurent have subscribed back in March, and also with many of them subscribed in tranche 2 a few weeks ago. So that's also a factor of huge differentiation, and that's a factor of major premium generation and future BTC yield capacity for the company, as those BTC-denominated debts are long only. The investors that subscribe to these instruments are not shorting the stock on the other side. They are long only. They are Bitcoin maximalists. And that's extremely accretive, of course, for the stock. Since the launch of the BTC denominated convertible notes of March, the stock is up 1,000%. So, I mean, if we speak about conversion probability, this is as close as you can get to permanent capital. And so that is quite a differentiating factor. And that's something that is blowing the minds of traditional finance people that don't yet understand Bitcoin. All right. Do you have another question, Martian Lawyer B? Or we can get into the last two questions?
Yep. Maybe just a very small question, and I'm also not sure if you are allowed to answer that. But I was wondering, I mean, we all want TOBAM to subscribe to the 300 million as soon as possible. Do you know how much demand there will be on the side of TOBAM, or maybe you can already after the first trading day speak to the demand of today?
No, that I cannot talk about, of course. In terms of demand for the future, we will see, and we will make announcements as we go.
Okay, thank you.
But of course, we have made this 300 million envelope based on the volumes that we see and the capacity of the 21%. But it's a capacity, and so it's not necessary that it will be executed. We will work as much as we can to execute, but there are no certainties. Yeah. So we will communicate later on each capital increase related to those operations. One thing that is exciting is that we are one of the most traded instrument security on the market already, and you can see that our volumes are already like 6 million shares. It's like 6% of the capital of the company. It represents about 30 million euros today only. And that is the double of the market cap of the company when we launched the strategy. We started at 15 million market cap, and today a daily trading operation is 30 million. And so that tells you the growth that we can see in 7 months, and that's, of course, very exciting for the future.
Alexander,
Right.
if you have a minute, one question that I like to ask, because I heard you say the CAC40 ETF, but given that we crossed the 1,000 Bitcoin on the balance sheet, we should also be applied for the ONBB ETF. Is that something you already, is that something that you have to do something for, or do they do it themselves, or how does that work?
Yes, so the day that we announced the new acquisition, I specifically tagged the CEO of Bitwise, and actually he responded. So that's of course great news to see that this 1,000 BTC mark is checked. And then it depends, of course, of the Bitwise processes. I know that they add on a quarterly basis. So we'll monitor this, and announcements then will be made by themselves when they are ready. So that's an exciting thing to look at, and based on their criterion, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be added going forward, either the next one or following ones, as they are targeting BTC companies with that 1,000 BTC mark.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. So I see we have 2 last questions. We will intend to finish in about 8 minutes. So let's take those 2 last questions. Gabriel, did you want to ask a question? Oh, hello. Yes.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Alexandre. Hi, everyone. First of all, very good speech in Las Vegas. You were one of the best speaker, actually the best speaker on the panel. So fantastic speech. I have a few questions regarding institutional investors. The first one is whether you intend to target more institutional investors in the long term to diversify the shareholder structure. For instance, a capital group took a major stakes in strategy back in 2021. So I was wondering if you intend to do the same, mainly with French and small European investor. So, and also one second question is whether you intend to issue more warrants for existing shareholders like you did back in April this year. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So of course, the institutions that can come in, we will welcome them as we go. I think it's a natural evolution as you grow to see larger institutions. We already have in the shareholder basis Rothschild, Generali, and a few Luxembourg banks. You can look at our two press releases from last month in our equity raises. That's quite informative. And so institutional investors from major international institutions will come in due time, and it's of course a priority to get them to be included, and there might be already some that we have seen. We have seen, for example, Citadel that had taken interest already. They had tried to short the stock when we were back at about 0.40 cents. So we have welcomed them after that as shareholders because they, of course, had to recover. So maybe they were also long on the other side, but that tells you that there is already interest from international institutions since about March, February. And so you can guess that that's a natural evolution going forward. And on the second question on the warrants, there is a legal limit annually to issue those type of warrants without a prospectus. And basically, we have already reached that limit for the year with the March issuance. However, there is the possibility to issue almost unlimited amounts of warrants, the BSA in French, of those warrants, stock acquisition rights warrants for all shareholders, but that requires a prospectus, and that takes some months to be able to get it approved. It can also not be approved, but that's the process that needs to be followed for more warrants to be issued. So that includes a prospectus, and then the limit is just the maximum limit of the General Assembly. So if it is voted tomorrow, then it would be more than 10 billion euros as the limit. So almost unlimited capacity to issue new warrants, provided that there is a prospectus done and a prospectus approved by regulators.
Cool. Thank you very much, Alexandre. Very quick question as well. Do you intend to participate in any conference or event in Paris this summer, like you did in April in Paris? And so just wondering if you'll be in Paris attending conferences again this summer.
So not planned in Paris for the summer yet. I've not seen a big one in Paris. We could also think of organizing one, maybe more in the fall of after the summer. That would be quite exciting, but not one planned yet for Paris in the summer. I'll be in BTC Prague next week. So if some of you here in the call are joining BTC Prague, please feel free to comment on the post I made earlier today on BTC Prague, my BTC Prague participation, and comment there, and we'll make sure to meet while we are there, and yeah, and then for next events, that would be more for, I guess, for the fall of 2025.
Great. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabriel, and looking forward to meeting you in person at some point, either in Paris or in another event.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Last question. Maybe another one at the end. We'll see. So, Digent Boujbal, the floor is yours. Are you here with us? We cannot hear you. No? Okay. I will give the mic to the next one and last one, and if you are able to unmute yourself, then we'll have you speak. Mercury one, for the last question. Are you here with us?
Yes, Mercury.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Alexandre and Valentin, for what you guys are doing, and also the community. I mean, I'm a French national, as you can guess from my accent. It couldn't be better to be able finally to have a Bitcoin company in my PA, and also the PA SME, which is another tranche of capital. My main question is actually how, with the work you are doing with TOBAM, for instance, are you thinking about doing some products that would wrap the share of BTG would be eligible for the life insurance? Like Assurance Vie is actually very popular in France, and obviously that would also be another way to attract a large pool of capital. So I was just wondering if you had discussion, like how could you make accessible the shares, of course, as part of the funds, because there are a lot of regulation and things, but it would be pretty interesting, I would say, for French consumers who also want to convert some part of the funds they have on Assurance Vie into a Bitcoin related investment.
Thank you very much. That's a great thought, and you can be assured that any type of opportunity in terms of share access in France and in the world, and in terms of any type of new derivative type product of the share is of very much interest for us, and enters into our full focus on maximizing BTC yield and accruing value for shareholders. And so I would be very pleased if you have any type of idea or recommendation that you would want us to look at specifically, that we would be happy to receive and look if that's something we have already looked at or not, and adjust accordingly. So again, if you want to write me on X, or if you can't, on one of our press releases, to our media agency with your recommendation and mentioning we discussed it, then we'd be happy to receive that any type of proposition of this kind. That's very interesting.
Amazing.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Alexandre.
Thank you very much. Okay, I see Dejent, you came back. I tried to add you again. Can you hear us? No. Okay, then I'll take the last one. Said, can you hear us? No. Said,
Hello.
or yes? Yes, we can
Hello.
hear you. Yes. Okay, who is speaking now?
This is Said.
Okay, Said, yes, we can hear you. Thank you for joining. Welcome. Do you have a question?
Yes, quick one. Could you confirm the news that I've seen? There could be partnership between ALTBG and Nakamoto? And if there is not, are you considering any partnerships in future? Thanks.
Thank you very much for the question. In fact, as you know, Nakamoto is extremely close, or even including UTXO management. It's the same team. It's UTXO management is the investment branch of Bitcoin Magazine, and Nakamoto is the Bitcoin Treasury that is being launched by David Bailey, and with, of course, ALTBG. We have UTXO management as part of our strategic investors. And so in some ways, we are already extremely close with Nakamoto and the team. And in fact, indirectly through Nakamoto, basically, we have investment from UTXO management, which is the investment branch of Bitcoin Magazine. So, any further type of collaboration would be announced at a later stage, but that's not the case so far, except for, of course, the strategic investor that we have with us, UTXO management. Does that answer your question, or you had something else in mind?
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much, Said. And same, if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much. All right. That's it for today. Thank you so much all for joining us. And please reach out to us on X, tag us, ask us any questions you may have that we may not have answered yet. And we've been extremely glad to have you all. And we'll be working relentlessly to maximize BTC yield over time and keep the highest pace possible of the months to cover the premium. And we'll be working relentlessly as well on communication. And we take as well very much in seriousness your feedback related to the share access worldwide and to the analytics on the website and so on. So we work on all your feedbacks, and we welcome any further feedback you may have. And we thank you all for being shareholders of the group and members of the community. And thank you very much all. And I'm looking forward to the next one, where we will be joined by TOBAM President Yves Chouefati to get into more detail on his journey, TOBAM, and the collaboration with the blockchain group. Thank you very much all, and talk to you soon.
Thank you, Alexander. Thank you for making the time and being available to us.
My pleasure. Thank you all. Cheers.